So good morning, everyone, and welcome to our yoga and meditation sadhana this morning. Sadhana simply means spiritual practice. And anything that we're using to calm the body, whether it be the yoga asanas or the postures, whether we're using particular visualizations or breathing techniques, it's important here to note that the ultimate aim of our practice is towards a greater sense of relaxation, interiorization of the consciousness, and then the upliftment of that consciousness into higher states of being, like superconsciousness. So, as you practice today, and we hear chanting and we're using these breathing techniques, remember that this is the goal of the path of yoga, is to return to an inner state of unified consciousness, to become aware once more of that consciousness within yourself. So let's go ahead and close down the eyes. And as you close down the eyes, make sure that you are seated tall. What that means is that your spine is able to sit in its natural curvature. Your palms are facing up on the lap. You might take a little rocking from left to right and just try to find that point in the middle where it's effortless to sit tall, where you're balanced on each of the sits bones. And when you're sitting, and throughout this practice, hopefully throughout your life, the belly is remaining relaxed. So what this means is that when you inhale, it's free to expand out. And it can be subtle, but we're loosening the tension on and in front of the belly so that you can breathe naturally. And moving beyond the belly region to the solar plexus, right below the connection point of your physical ribs, in this digestive plexus of the body, let there be some energy, right? This is the center of fire in the body, which is another way of saying energy. And that energy is wanting to start to lift up. So open yourself energetically, meaning lift your body up a little bit higher here. And it's this energy that washes over the backside of the body, it washes over the shoulders, not literally, but symbolically. And we open the heart by keeping our palms facing up and our elbows drawn behind the body. So you can think like you're drawing a bow here, you're pulling, the heart's being pulled forwards. And the chin stays tucked gently towards the throat. And it's with awareness from the base of the skull diagonally through the spiritual eye. If you need to open your eyes, you can do so to see an example. In just a moment, you guys. Just to see an example. So it's from the base of the skull that we start to lengthen, and we're drawing diagonally through the front of the body at the spiritual eye, point between the two eyebrows. And it's this consciousness of rising and of projecting forward and out that is going to take us into the perfect alignment of the body. So go ahead and find that alignment. And you'll notice if you can just relax the whole body and let this internal rising capacity, a very natural flow in the body, you'll find it becomes much easier to be seated calmly. And it's almost as if by osmosis or resonance or association, however you like to look at it, just by holding the body in this form, which is to stay relaxing and sitting in it, there's a natural harmonic flow of consciousness and energy that begins to happen in the body. Now, with your physical eyes, you're looking up towards the point between the two eyebrows without strain. The breath in yoga practice is always coming in and out through the nose, unless directed otherwise. This is more calming on the nervous system. And on a subtler level, it provides us with insight as to the point of the body that we want to be focused on. When you breathe in through the nose, there's a stimulating sensation at the point between the two eyebrows. It's rather cool on the inhalation, and it becomes a little bit warmer from the body heat on the exhalation. By breathing up and into the brain and down and out of the brain on exhalation, you'll start to pull your consciousness up higher in the body. The yogis describe these pulling currents in the body. We can either be pulled downward towards heavier emotions or states of consciousness. Could be stress, disharmony, or the lower states of consciousness or unconsciousness, sleep. Or we can start to pull our consciousness up towards higher states and frequencies of joy and love, gratitude. But the key word there is pulling. It denotes a necessity of presence, of activity. So you can just relax in your position. We'll have a chant, and chanting is primarily to open the heart, that we have a balance between heart and mind. This chant is called Door of My Heart. energy and consciousness back at the spiritual eye for a few moments. The beauty of this chant is that we're awakening the inner dialogue with the divine. And we're pledging to keep our heart open to that consciousness within ourselves. When you're ready to open the eyes, you can, and we'll begin the movement aspect of our practice. So let's go ahead and come up to standing position as a place to start today. You can rise out of your seat. Do a little adjustment of the camera here. Good. Oh, looks like I didn't adjust anything. Here we go. There. Perfect. Good. And let's just take a moment. We're going to take our feet a little bit wider than we're used to. And we're going to bend our knees and slide our hands down on the top of the knee or bottom of the thigh. And you're just going to sort of cast the body side to side here. So bending one knee deeply, extending the opposite leg, and starting to dip the shoulder in towards the center. This is a great way to start waking up and stimulating the lower body and the lower spine. You might go a little bit faster here since we're just in the beginning of our practice. Note what your body's ready for. And just imagine in these little practices that you are heating up the cauldron, or you're warming up the base of the spine and starting to stimulate some of that energy to rise a little bit higher. And then let the head just kind of hang down a little bit and start to find a little bit of a stimulation here, side to side. Good. And then coming back through neutral, keep knees nice and deeply bent. And we're just going to go ahead and rub under the top of the thighs a little bit. And nice and long in the spine. I'll show you from the side. Ideally, you have your shoulders right over your hips. So, yeah, perfect. You can get the inner thighs a little bit if you'd like, even into the glutes. Good. And then once you're done with the rubbing, you can inhale and join the hands up into the heart. Just pause for a moment here, feeling inner thighs gathering with their energy towards the center. And if you're looking down at the ground, at least look to the horizon right in front of you, maybe even a bit higher. Good. Just notice what it feels like to have all that energy awakening. You can use the affirmation, my body is no burden. I am light as air. My body is no burden. I am light as air. Good. And it's still early, so let's go ahead and come up by straightening the legs, and you can heel toe the feet back into the center. Let's inhale, gentle bend of the knees, and sweep the arms down and then up and around. And exhale, hands right down in front of the body in prayer, relaxing down below. You can take a gentle bend of your knees, hands onto the hips, and you're going to arch your spine. So let your heart really come forward. You can even pull the elbows behind the body a little bit here. And we're just going to very gently circle. And so all this is happening in the lowest part of the spine. Your hips stay exactly the same. Feel a little new to the body at first, and then reverse the direction. If you're very sensitive, inhale and hold the breath as you circulate. And this will give you a little buffer, so this is not so much crunching in the back, if that's what you're experiencing. Good, and then same position of the legs, you go side to side, and think like little bumpers in the bowling alley. You're sort of finding the bumper on side to side. And keep going for just a moment. Just reset here. Okay. And then you can come back through center. Let's just drop the hands, inhale and sweep all the way up. Good, and take a reset. Exhale, fold all the way forward, releasing head and neck down towards the earth. Inhaling, lifting halfway. You can press off your thighs, feeling the spine lengthening. Good, and then exhale, you can bend the knees and slowly choose if you'd like to roll up the spine, or you can press off of the thighs and stand up through the spine. So your choice. Inhaling, arms come all the way up above the head. Good. We're going to take hands out in front of us, and we're going to practice a little technique here where we take soft fists and we look behind as we tense the arms back, and then let them come forward and go right to the other side. So it's good for the heart region. And you can get a nice rhythm here where you're swinging and you're tensing back, but note that my hips have not moved. Good. When the hand goes back, it comes to the heart, other hand goes behind. So this is what it looks like from the side. Good. And then you just do the other side. Nice deep breathing. Keep the hips focused forwards. Wonderful way to stimulate the heart and open that space, both front and behind. And then we'll come back to neutral. You can inhale and sweep the arms, a little gentle bend of the knees. Exhale, hands are going to come down onto the shoulders. Good, we're going to exaggerate this motion by bending the knees and drawing the elbows and the shoulders. And just row the whole body here. Good. So you go down as far as you're ready to. You stand through the spine. I'll show you from the side. And you're standing up in your spine. Good. And then we're going to just take a few rounds reversing, coming forwards. Good. Get used to this experience of the whole body being integrated in the posture. And just to make sure we're leaving on an opening note, open at least once. Let's do twice. Circling around. Good. And then you can let the arms come down. Let's take a deep breath. Right into the brain. Beautiful. Looking to the spiritual eye with the eyes closed for a few moments and feeling the body beginning to wake up. And above all, that you're drawing your sense of self back into the center of your being. In the physical body, it's the spine. And we're drawing all those loose cords of distracted energy. Beautiful. We're going to come into pyramids pose to start. So you can take a gentle step back with your right foot. It's not very far, maybe just one step back. And your toes are pointed at a diagonal. And you're straightening your front leg. The way to know that you're doing it correctly is to lean towards the ball of your foot. And it will force you to have to use this muscle a little bit. Sometimes I see people drop their knee back. Just keep the knee engaged. Now, in this particular pose, the hips are forwards. You could take hands into the heart or hands on your hips, and you're going to lean yourself over your front leg. Your spine is nice and long. You can bridge on the thigh if you'd like to. And you're working your way to really lengthen the spine. We're not folding yet. So see if you can pull the shoulder blades back behind your heart and lengthen through the crown of your head. And the affirmation is, I offer myself fully into the flow of grace. When you're ready to take that dive, you can go ahead and just release the head and the neck and bow the body over this front leg. Now, careful not to push too hard into the back of the leg. That is your left leg in this case. We're still early in the practice. Above all, in this posture, feel that the base of your head and the top of your neck, that wonderful little point of the medulla oblongata, is nice and relaxed. So if you need to shrug your neck a little and then relax it, or fold the head or lift the chin up and then release down, you can. Just make sure it's relaxed. And when you're ready to exit the pose, you take a bend into your front knee, deep breath, squeeze the belly and push off of your thigh so that you're one integrated whole. And when you start to come back towards neutral, you can stand and send arms up above the head for the counter pose, which is Muktasana. Good. Relax the shoulders down and let the heart come forwards first, then up higher. Then you might experiment with bending back just a hair. Good. Awareness is high in the body, either towards the hands or the spiritual eye. Good. And then we'll just go ahead and lower the hands down. You take a step forward. So let's close the eyes right away and check in. Let's check spinal alignment for standing position. Leave the eyes closed so that you can learn to do this from the inside. Go ahead and take a rock from the ball of your foot and then towards your heel. If you need something for balance, hold on. And you're going to leave off with weight on the balls of your feet. So heels are nice and light. Knees aren't locked, but not bent, right in between. You can go right back and forth. Good. Hips, they're not tilted up and they're not tilted back. They're just in a nice neutral position. You can put your hands on your hips if you want to find them. Good. And then on inhalation, we're drawing that energy up the spine. Your solar plexus, again, is the source of power in most of these postures. So lift through the solar plexus and let that energy pour and open through the heart. Your palms can face out and open. Good. Chin towards the throat and crown of the head long towards the sky. And you'll find that there is this neutral position that requires no effort. And this no effort space is indicative of a harmonious flow of energy through the body. See if you can touch with that. Look to the spiritual eye finally. Good. And then we'll open the eyes. So let's come to the other side and we'll keep experimenting with a lot of these alignment-based ideas here. And so from coming into pyramids pose on the second side, you can hold onto your hips if you'd like. You can brace right onto the thigh if you'd like. And the energy, so to speak, is as though you're trying to look over the edge of a table. And so the chin isn't flaring out too high, but it's really that you're looking over the table and trying to place the crown of the head on the wall in front of you. The hips are going back. They're a counter force to your aspiration forwards. You might think of them as a balancing act. And we use the affirmation first in the active phase, and then we'll go into relaxation. I offer myself fully into the flow of grace. I offer myself fully into the flow of grace. You're ready to make that complete offering. You just start to relax and round the back as you drop the hands down and forwards. Now, some of us are going to stay right here on the thigh. Others of us might go down the leg a little bit more and hold on to the leg. Just find a position that's sustainable and that you can continue to breathe in. Most important above all is to relax the back of the head. So just notice if you're pinching, like you're trying to hold a little marble back there, and just let the chin drop. Some of us that may be comfortable with our balance might look behind us. I offer myself fully into the flow of grace. Now we have varying degrees of experience, so if you are very comfortable, stay here, but if you're ready to leave, just center the hands onto the thigh first, bending the front knee, squeeze the belly, very important to keep low back safe, and then just build your way up. nice and safe, leaving front knee bent. And you're going to inhale and draw the hands up from the heart and reach them straight up above head first. And then if you'd like, release the heart forwards, lift up a bit higher and backwards. And you get a little back bend in the pose. This is freedom pose or muktasan. Let's just stick with a single affirmation here. I offer myself fully into the flow of grace. One of the beautiful gifts of sending your hands above your head is that it gives an anchor point for you to place your awareness higher in the body. The higher the awareness in the body, the easier it is to conduct the states of consciousness like joy, happiness. When you're ready, you can inhale and take your step forwards and just let the arms come down as you come forward. We're going to take a full reset. As you inhale, sweep arms just halfway. Exhale, you can fold all the way down. Good. Relax the back of the neck. Inhale, press up from the thighs, lifting halfway, sliding into halfway lifting position. Then bend the knees and choose. If you have a healthy spine, roll up the spine. If your spine is sensitive, push off your thighs and stand through your spine. Squeeze the belly as you rise. Good. Arms can come up and around as you're ready. Exhale, hands into the heart space. And we come right back to our standing position. Eyes are closed. The weight is on the balls of the feet. Quicker now. Knees are at rest. Hips are neutral. Belly wall is lifting up. Heart is broad. First part of the body to meet the world. Chin is bowed behind the heart. Sign of humility. Back of the neck is open. Crown of the head is reaching to touch the sky. Hands in prayer denote devotion, which is a dedication to the spiritual path, a dedication to expressing greater capacity for love and joy. The whole body is at rest. This is a standing shavasana. And you release when you're ready, just dropping hands down. Notice how you're getting progressively calmer. Let's go ahead and start by sending right foot back. And we're going to spin up onto the ball of the foot. Now, I understand that's not available to all of us. You can leave your heel down if need be. But if you can, spin up onto the ball of the foot. Your hips are pointed in the same direction as your bent knee. Good. We're going to inhale, drawing hands underneath us. You're going to sit lower and then draw the hands up into the heart and be bright in your spine and your posture. Your back leg is as straight as a telephone pole. And you might imagine at first that you have a belt on that's a bit too tight. It's hugging your hips close together. And once you feel that sense of cooperation from the legs, then you can let go of that tension and just be still in your pose. If you'd like, you can send arms above the head for the full warrior one position. The affirmation, I attune my will to the source of all power. I attune my will to the source of all power. Imagine your little battery of potential energy and willpower, and you're plugging that back into the infinite source, back to the grid. When you're ready to come out of the pose, you inhale and lengthen through the spine and let that energy extend into the field around you by rounding the hands out. And then on the next inhalation, just sweep the hands behind you and use that energy to come back to center, and hands come into the heart. Short break here to look at the spiritual eye. I attune my will to the source of all power. whatever it is, whatever's stimulated in the body, any sensation, thought, feeling, just give it all up to the point between the two eyebrows. Think of it like laying flowers on the altar. Each feeling is another beautiful type of flower, even the dark feelings, their own unique flower. Okay, let's go ahead and come to the other side. So moving slowly as you're ready, you take that nice deep bend in your front knee, and you might look down. Make sure you can see your first two toes at least. This will make sure your knee's not too far forwards. And if it's back a little, that's quite all right. You use whatever amount of strength you have. You can roll onto the ball of the back foot. Do so now. Hips are facing forwards. And a little quicker, we inhale and we draw that sense of integrity up by hugging thighs, hugging hips. Hands are into the heart to start. And you might lift your hands up above the head if you feel comfortable. Now the back leg plays a really important role here. You want to actively push off of the ball of the foot. So there's a feeling like you're rising forwards first and then rising up. And the whole spine will follow. This low back comes forwards, then it comes up. And you know you're in the right spot when the posture begins to feel just a little bit easier. I attune my will to the source of all power. And we're letting go of all of the tension in the body that we may have been using to create the illusion that we were strengthening the body, that we were using lots of effort. And you just let that go so that energy can be more efficiently channeled as a calm, steady flow. This way the mind is not agitated. When you're ready, you inhale and open the arms and just let them come down. Exhale, relax. And then I like to sweep my hands behind me to prepare. And then inhale, draw them into fists and step forwards. And you can even inhale all the way up and reach the arms around. And then exhale and come into standing position. Hands into the heart, or they can be by the sides. And notice with each successive posture that the body is becoming more and more receptive. Let's make sure that the energy gets at least above the heart. You can take hands into prayer to ensure this. You can also take your gaze to the spiritual eye. Deep, harmonious breath. Feeling relaxed, yet fully aware, awake and present in the body. We'll go ahead and release. We're going to come into eagle pose before we come down. So in eagle position, you're sending arms halfway out and bending elbows. We're going to start with left arm on top. So you can either hug the shoulders. Here, let me show you without a sweatshirt. Probably be a lot easier to see my arms. You come out halfway, bend the elbows, take left arm on top. So your elbow slides into that position. You can hold onto your shoulders. If you can match the backs of the palms together, feel free. Some of us can wrap our hands around. Doesn't matter where you get to, as long as it suits your practice. Go ahead and bend the knees, take a little seat, okay? It's not that far down. And then you can step over with your left foot and use it as a kickstand. For many of us, this is the perfect place to be. And you settle in here. The affirmation: through life's many storms, I stand serene. Through life's many storms, I stand serene. life's many storms, I stand serene. It's of particular importance in this pose to keep the shoulders relaxed, right? We're actively pulling on those muscles behind the heart by holding our arms in this twist. So keep breathing. We're flushing hips and shoulders simultaneously. When you're ready to release, take a deep inhalation, unstep the feet first. Good. Exhale. You're going to either, we'll do it in two phases here. So if you'd like, you just unravel the arms and stay standing and circle them around. Now, if you'd like, cross the arms back over. You can go even deeper here by bending the knees and brushing off of the shoulders. So use the strength of the belly, careful in the low spine, and then inhale, arms all the way up. So you can choose what feels the best for you. Take a moment with hands in prayer, eyes at the spiritual eye. Through life's many storms, I stand serene. Chin is staying tucked towards the throat, crown of the head lifted. And feel that even as outer circumstances are always changing, sometimes very challenging, there's a place within you that is untouched, always calm and serene. And you can open the eyes and come out of that state. And we'll take arms out nice and wide, bending elbows. It's our last standing posture. So let's go ahead and cross the arms. This time we have our right arm on top. You can hold the shoulders. You can match backs of the palms or wrap around. So in this version, you're taking foot over. So this is your right foot as you bend down and settle in. And just think like you're sitting down into your throne. Comfortable seat, belly's engaged, shoulders are relaxed. And tune into the reality that these affirmations are not just words, but they are a living state of consciousness. See if you can attune yourself with the consciousness of this affirmation. Through life's many storms, I stand serene. I like to imagine faces of saints and the serenity that is so often resting in their expression, true serenity, as though they're lit from the inside out. When you're ready to exit the pose, draw the inhalation to unstep the legs. And again, you can go for the half release here and just circle the arms to let the shoulders relax. Or you take the full release by dropping down, bending the knees, squeeze the belly muscles up and then reach up as you stand through the spine and send arms up above, hands into the heart. Let's release the hands down, this time palms facing forwards. On the ball of the foot, natural knees, natural hips, heart is open and broad. Notice how much more uplifting this version of standing is. How we feel awake and ready, engaged, almost as though there's positive expectation in our lives. Through life's many storms, I stand serene. All right, when you're ready, you can go ahead and release yourself from that pose. We're going to make sure we're at the front of our mat. And we're just going to start to slide the hands down the body, bending the knees until we can touch the earth. We're going to step our right foot all the way back and drop the knee right down to the ground. You can step onto the tips of the fingers, and then using left hand first, you can press off of your leg. and we're in a supported lunge. So in this pose, you might need a little extra cushion on your knee, so be mindful. You can always fold your mat over, and your hips are right over your knee to start. And if you're like to, you can start to lean forwards with hands in front of the heart. So be gentle, mindful of what your body's ready for. Back toes can be tucked or untucked, your choice. Now again, get the cooperation of the lower body before we attempt to expand in the spine. So hug the hips together, lift through the pelvic floor, and you feel that gathering like you have roots in the earth and you're drawing energy. Good. Solar plexus, the fire quality in the body, is upward rising. You're burning bright, heart expanding, throat expanding, chin tucked, crown of the head long. Then the arms go up. And look right through the spiritual eye as though you were projecting yourself into the world. The whole body is relaxed. And just like those saints of many traditions, you're being lit from the inside out. There's no affirmation listed for this pose, so let's use the affirmation for Warrior Two, which is I joyfully manifest the power of the divine. I joyfully manifest the power of the divine. When you're ready to come out of the pose, you inhale, expand that field of joy all around your body, and then hands coming back on either side of the foot. Make sure your back toes come and tuck under. Good, we're going to lift our back knee here and slide the left foot back to the right and take a downward facing dog just as a moment of transition. So maybe 2 or 3 breaths. Looking towards the lap, pressing out of hands as the hips aspire towards the heavens. Each of us has a different degree of practice. For those of us ready to come down, you spend some time in child's pose and let the forehead come down as you sit back over the ankles. Don't be concerned if your child's pose doesn't look exactly like mine. You find a way just to rest. Hearing that affirmation circulating, stimulating your consciousness. I joyfully manifest the power of the divine. I joyfully manifest the power of the divine. How wonderful that feels to circulate through your body. So we're not going to spend too long here as we have some other postures to get to. So when you're ready, you just come up through tabletop position. This time we're going to tuck toes underneath, press the hips up towards the sky. And when you're ready, you can take your step forwards with your right foot. So just go right forwards, stepping. You might need to come onto the tips of your fingers, back knees dropping down. Your right hand comes above the knee, then press yourself up to standing. Some of us have trouble balancing in this pose. Just walk your front foot out to widen the gate between your legs. Okay, same as the other side. Start with your foundation. Push through soles of the feet. Draw the energy up the legs, hugging thighs together, lifting the pelvic floor. And all that energy you can feel, it's an integrated foundation. Sometimes I use my hands just to kind of get the idea of drawing everything together. And then lift that up the spine, solar plexus energized, heart open wide. And then from relaxed shoulders, openness of throat, you reach the arms up over the head. Some of us lean forwards a little bit more. Some of us untuck the back toes. These are just little preferences. Now, ideally, there's a point in your posture where relaxation is equally balanced with effort. If we're over efforting, meaning we're really driving into the pose, we're creating a lot of friction or heat, unnecessary tension in the body. And if we're so relaxed that we become aloof, we're losing energy like a sieve pouring out of the body. So we be contained enough to be present and relaxed enough that energy can freely travel. I joyfully manifest the power of the divine. I joyfully manifest the power of the divine. Notice if there's a part of your body that's gripping, if it's in the hands or the head. Just let everything be gentle, soft. At some point, you're ready to bow the hands wide, and we spread a field of light and joy around the body. Hands by the front foot, back toes tucked under. When you're ready, lift your back knee and slide the right foot out of the way, and look back towards the thighs as you press in a downward facing dog. Now we'll stay here a little longer this time using the affirmation, calmness radiates from every fiber of my being. I like to think of my whole body all at once, sighing, releasing the held tension. Just imagine that the whole body unwinding a little bit. I was tuning an instrument the other day and I broke a string from too much tension. And this is what it feels like sometimes in our bodies. We're so tightly strung, and you just relax a little bit more. Drop down. Stay as long as you'd like in downward facing dog, and then you can come down and rest in child's pose. So knees bent, arms extended, forehead down. Now it's important to make sure that you're relaxing and breathing into the low spine here. A lot of times these postures, until we strengthen our back, our lower back is most often the weak point in the majority of people's bodies. What it means when I say to breathe into the low spine, when you inhale, relax your belly out, and you'll feel it. You can actually fill your body like a balloon with breath. And these little pockets in the back sides of the lungs that we don't usually use start to expand, and they press against kidneys, and even behind the heart we can breathe. So we'll stay here a little bit longer, all the while the attention is centered at the spiritual eye. This ensures that our energy keeps flowing upward so as to let go of and release patterns of behavior and being that no longer serve us. Again, imagine them like offerings of flowers on an altar. Everything is sweet to the divine. There's no judgment in oneness. It's all divine energy, divine life. Remain perfectly plugged in and in tune to what's happening within the body in this moment. Feeling the energy, the joy, the newly awakened consciousness circulating into every cell of the body. We'll take our final, rather, we'll enjoy our final 3 breaths, remaining in the pose, feeling deep inhalation circulating to every part of the body, from tips of the toes to crown of the head and out to the edges of the fingers. When you reach your last breath, you just slowly start to lift the hips, lift yourself right through cat position, which is to look towards the lap, rounding the back. Good. We're going to take our hands one step further than we're used to, a little bit wider. And you can step your knees back a little bit. Use the belly muscles as you lower yourself down. So elbows are going to bend. You're just going to lower yourself down towards the earth. So gentle version, if you know your spine is sensitive, put elbows right underneath the shoulders in a Sphinx pose. And your toes, big toes, are touching, and they're pointed behind you. This is really a great place to start. If you know that you can practice Cobra pose, I won't demonstrate today. But if you know that you can go ahead and lower yourself down and then lift into that pose. The rest of us, we're focusing on imagining the lower spine as an accordion that is expanding. So most of us, when we bend in the back, we're contracting, we're closing down the bellows. And in this pose, you want to imagine that you're expanding. Excuse me, we do this by pulling on the elbows, reaching the heart forwards, and then lifting through crown of the head. Now you can also push down through your pelvic bone, and some of us can actually float our knees, right? We're pushing down through toenails and down through the pelvic bone, and this can afford you to lift your knees. This will give you a little more leverage to lengthen through the low spine. Let's use the affirmation together in our final 3 to 5 breaths. I rise joyfully to meet each new opportunity. I rise joyfully to meet each new opportunity. Just imagine that you are welcoming all the new experiences in your life joyfully, a positive expectation. When you're ready to lower down, you just start to bow the heart forwards until you can put pressure in your hands, and then separate the elbows out and lower the self down. Toes tuck underneath. You're going to inhale and push back. We're going to round the back into a counter pose. You're going to tuck your toes under and hold onto your heels and drop the head towards the earth. So your belly is tucking up in towards your low back. This is called hare pose or the rabbit pose. You're actively pulling on your heels, and it acts as a point of leverage. So as you pull on your heels, you can push your belly up into your spine more. There's no weight on the neck. It's just a balance point for the top of the head or the forehead, whichever part of your head is resting. Now, above all, make sure that you can breathe in the pose. In the affirmation, I am master of my energy. I am master of my body. I am master of my energy. I am master of my body. When you're ready to lower down, you just slide down into child's pose, or you have the option, you can come into Vajrasana with me, palms facing up on the lap, right at the top of the thigh, elbows pulled behind you to keep your heart open wide. If this is very uncomfortable, you just come into child's pose. Either way, we're all closing the eyes. If you notice any muscle bound in the jaw or shoulders, sometimes in the belly, we'll just gently let that go. I am master of my energy. I am master of my body. There's an assumed confidence and trust in this affirmation. I am master of my energy. I am master of my body. When you're ready to rise out of the pose, if you were in child's pose, you just slowly come back up to your seat. We're going to take our feet out of the way, come down onto our comfortable seat. One last seated posture, and then we'll come down. Feet are going to be close together, knees close together. And we're going to go ahead, I'm just going to make a gentle adjustment here. Yeah, perfect. You can see quite a bit better for these seated postures. And we're holding onto the back side of the thighs, and you're sealing your elbows in towards your body. So think like, again, there's quite a few postures where we're pulling the bow of our body. So see if you can get that sense. You start out, you can see my back is rounding here. I'll exaggerate so you can really see. And you're starting to lift the back up and hug the elbows in so that there's an exaggeration. Knees holding close together and ankles. Now if you feel comfortable here, start to lower back and lift the toes, but keep all this hugging together. Now, so many people in this posture I've witnessed speed right past this alignment, and you really miss out on the deeper benefits of this pose. For me, this is plenty. Maybe you're feeling a similar sensation, and you're starting to tone the belly wall, not the abdominal muscles, but there's actually a beautiful sheet of muscle behind the physical abs that's responsible for all the strength in the abdomen. And you're feeling that wrapping like a corset around the body. And this will strengthen your low spine too. The affirmation within my every breath is infinite power. Some of us have been practicing for longer and we feel confident releasing the hands. You can even lower down a little more. It's quite apparent when you're in the sweet spot and when you've gone too far. The affirmation within my every breath is infinite power. And feel that as you breathe, that there is a source of energy and vitality beyond your personal capacity that is feeding into your practice. When you've had enough of the pose, you gently drop the feet down and you can just lay your body forward. Some of us like to separate our feet a little more, and you can take hands in between if you have the flexibility to do so. And it can be quite soothing if you like wrapping your arms behind you. So definitely not accessible for everyone's body. Also not necessary to relax. All that's necessary for relaxation in this pose is that the head and the neck are relaxed down and forwards. When you're ready to come back through neutral, you just build your way back up. We're going to take feet parallel, fingers pointed towards the sides next to us, and just rock the knees side to side. We'll satisfy the need for twisting by rolling from one side to the other. Feeling the side body getting lots of love. So the key in this little exploration here is to keep lifting through the hip. So keep driving the hip in its direction and then look over across, and then you'll feel that nice twisting sensation. So the top hip is really lifting and you're twisting the body. Heart is even lifting and you're looking over. Sometimes it can be really nice even just to pause in the pose. Just one last time to make sure that you're even here. Ending on the opposite side that you started. And then you can come back through neutral. Good, so we'll come all the way down. You can hold on the backs of your thighs and roll your way back. Just be gentle. Knees in towards the chest. Our final pose is an inversion. So this already is an inversion. You can just keep holding your knees. Some of us like tranquility pose. You can watch me before you try. Send your feet over your head and hold on to your legs and roll onto the upper back. Okay? If you'd like to go even further, just make sure you watch before you try and that you're not watching from within the pose. Elbows plug into the earth, and you're going to inhale and sweep the feet up as you push on the elbows and catch your hips in your hands. This is supportive shoulder stand, or Vipari Karani. If there's any other pose that you'd like to do and you feel confident in directing yourself through it, feel free to do so. If for any reason you are in an inversion and you feel that you need to come down right away, try to breathe and do so gently. Never rushing from one pose to another, but you're weaving a calm thread. And let's use the affirmation. Let's use the affirmation for child's pose, especially for those of us on our back with knees bent in, but even our shoulder standers as well. The affirmation, I relax from outer involvement into my inner haven of peace. I relax from outer involvement into my inner haven of peace. You may be reminded of the discourse that we open this practice with. That yoga is a directional practice. What that means is that every one of these practices, whether it be chanting, affirmation, postures, meditation, are all a practice to draw your awareness first inward and then upward. Upward is a relative term here. What it means is to raise the energy of the body. I relax from outer involvement into my inner haven of peace. Slowly over time, we are retraining ourselves to go within to get our needs met. Most often, it's one disappointment after another of searching out into the world to try to find that perfect satisfaction. And with wisdom, rather than seeking out in the world, we are relaxing from that outer activity into our inner haven or the inner wellspring of the joy that we seek. And when you're ready to come out of the pose, if you haven't already, you have a couple of options for your final resting position. It looks like we're moving along at a good pace here. So if you'd like to take Shavasana, which is just lying out on the back, feel free. Palms will face up. But I really encourage you to see what it's like to meditate at the end of your practice. You need no prior experience, only willingness. So if you are going to meditate, knowing that Shavasana is also a form of meditation, you come into your comfortable seat, palms will face up. Now, very important, this is unique as far as hand placement goes in the body, but I want to show you from the side here. The whole reason we do this, so palms facing up, is first to get the heart to open. But even with palms facing up, we can collapse in the heart. It's by drawing the palms towards the top of the thigh and drawing the elbows actively behind, then relaxing elbows down or shoulders down. It's only in this position that I've personally found that we can really keep ourselves relaxed with an open heart. So at first it may seem new to the body, but there's really no precedent for this. And you're resting your weight on the top of the palm and the wrist. Now you know you're doing it correctly when it feels like there's a, not the best word, but a pinch point, or how about a concentration of energy in the backside of the heart. There's a presence, you can feel it happening inside the heart, and then we look to the spiritual eye. Now, in either case, if you're in Shavasana or meditating, we're going to use an affirmation. Yogananda taught that it is most unnatural to try to silence the mind. Rather, we give the mind something to pour itself into, something to become absorbed in, and in this case, it's a mantra or a phrase that we're repeating. We're going to repeat, I am spirit, in the Sanskrit equivalent, which is Hong, H-O-N, Hong Sa. Hong Sa. When you inhale, it's the sound of Hong. When you exhale, Sa. This is happening internally. Let's take about 5 minutes to practice this. The breath is completely natural. And we're looking at the spiritual eye the whole time. And our childlike curiosity is in full play here. Curious to see what's around the next corner, what the next breath might feel like. Mentally inhaling the sound of hum, exhaling saw. Make sure to finish strong in your practice by releasing the mantra, looking to the spiritual eye, and becoming completely absorbed. Absorbed in silence. We'll have about a minute here of perfect silence. Deep inhalation, find the body once more. And feel your energy and your consciousness expanding from the center in the column of the spine out to all of the limbs. You can start awakening in ways that serve you, fingers, toes, arms above the head. If you're in your seat, anything that you'd like to just get the body to feel wakeful. And leaving the eyes closed, let's all meet in a seated posture. We'll join the hands together. So as you arrive, take your time if you're moving slowly from your Shavasana. We practice the mantra of Hong Sa for many reasons. On one level, we practice because this affirmation calms the heart and all the waves of desire that pull us outward into the mired complexities of this world. Of if I get this, then I'll be happy. If I become this, then I'll be happy. On a subtler level, we're affirming ourselves as spirit, not as a body or personality or mind, but purely as a soul that has come into this world to enact its drama. Hong Sa, bring this with you through your week. Let's pray for others together as we arrive in our seat. Hands together in front of the heart in prayer position, and sending this prayer out of the spiritual eye. We'll use the prayer that Paramhansa Yogananda uses for healing of body, mind, and spirit. So call someone into mind that could benefit from this healing and see them in front of you. Visualize them in a field of light, enveloped in joy, enveloped in the liberating qualities of consciousness that are flowing freely to you and through you. See them happy, at least relieved, uplifted. Good, let's rub the palms together. Get some good stimulation going, some awakening. Rub the arms up and down the arms, inside, outside, both arms. Good, back to rubbing. Then extend the palms out into the space around you. We'll use this prayer. Repeat if you choose to, and you'd like to join me. Divine Mother, thou art omnipresent, which is to say everywhere. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy loving and healing presence in these souls whom we've mentioned and in the world at large, that this prayer might find receptive hearts everywhere. Manifest this love in body, mind, and spirit. We'll Om 3 times together. Join when you're ready. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Blessings to these souls. And we end our practice by lifting hands in prayer to the spiritual eye. We're bowing to that place within us that is unconditionally loving, that is perfected, that is our highest potential. We're bowing to that place and recognizing that it is the same in every soul. Honoring that place with sincerity, humility, Say namaste, namaste. Just taking your time, coming back with eyes slowly opening. So now is the perfect time to meditate. The body has been prepared, energy withdrawn inward. So you might take at least 5 or 10 minutes after this class just to meditate. If you have other responsibilities in your life that require you to move right to the next aspect of your day, at least carry this thread of energy with you, always keeping a part of yourself inwardly drawn. All right, my dear friends, thank you so much for being here this morning. What a beautiful class that we are all blessed to receive today, myself included. And we'll see you next time. Namaste.